Hey everyone, it's Lois Banks coming to you from the Lois Banks Ministry. Today for dinner, for a family meal, I am preparing yellow squash with white onion sauteed in olive oil, meatloaf, 100% ground chuck, no antibiotics, no steroids, 100% grass fed because my youngest son and my youngest daughter do not eat vegan or vegetarian, and some basmati brown rice, and of course some complex carbohydrates such as pinto beans, which I cooked overnight in my crock pot. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I'm going to give you a little family history about my family and why I keep beans in my diet. My On my dad's side of the family, they are Creole. They're from Louisiana, and they ate a lot of white rice, shrimp, crabs, bottom feeders, catfish, And my dad blessed me with a health book, a history book of my family dating back to the 1700s, and it included death certificates and what people died from in my family, as well as birth certificates and uh, you know, marriage certificates. So I had an opportunity to study this book, and I noticed a trend that in my family, on my dad's side of the family, they had a lot of diabetes. So over 20 something years ago, the Lord dealt with me to not eat the same way that my family ate because, my dad was Creole, half French, half Indian. And, I grew up eating a lot of white rice, a lot of gumbo, and a lot of crabs and shrimp. I ate a lot of that stuff because that's what my parents cooked for me. And quite naturally, kids usually eat the way that their parents prepare foods for them growing up. But the Lord stopped me. He told me stop eating like that and to line my meals up to the Word of God. And in the book of Leviticus, God is very clear about not eating bottom feeders because they poison the blood. So we have a choice to either obey the Word of God or not obey the Word of God. Yes, we live in the New Testament, but there are health laws in the Old Testament that we do have to adhere to and submit our life to if we plan on living a healthy life, not dying before our time, and just walking in the promises of God for health. So I obey God. I stopped eating white rice, white sugar, white flour. Stop eating shrimp, crabs, catfish, because the Lord dealt with me that whenever I ate the bottom feeders, it was poisoning my blood. It poisoned my blood, and sickness and disease grows in a poison bloodstream. So I did what the Spirit of God told me to do, and my health has been blessed because I obeyed the scriptures. I obeyed God, and so I wanted to share that with you because this is going to be focused on people who are diagnosed with diabetes. I went through a research project where a family member allowed me to work with their family from Alabama, and I monitored their meals morning, noon, and night, took blood sugars, reading levels before the person ate, after they ate, with all meals, kept a log of how the person ate and how the blood pressure reacted to the meals. Then I said to the person, let's eat like God told us to eat. Eat the same food you're eating now, but let's go to Whole Foods. Let's shop for the clean foods without the toxic chemicals. Because I noticed that every time the person ate foods that came out of the conventional stores laced with chemicals sprayed by the farmers, the blood reacted and it spiked really high, and then that person had to take all goop gobs of insulin to bring it back under control. And this person was a brittle diabetic. The VA doctors did not have any control over the blood sugar, and the person was constantly in the hospital. So when I start working with this man, the family had already told me, Lois, you might not be able to regulate his blood sugar because the medical doctors at the VA can't regulate it and they can't get control of the blood sugar. I said, okay. So I took the man shopping. He began to eat the clean foods the way God said to eat it in the Bible. The first thing I noticed is the blood sugar going back down to normal. Every time he ate a meal, I took the blood sugar started going back down to normal. So then I said, okay, most diabetics are low, they have a deficiency in chromium. I said, let's get a multivitamin mineral with the VA doctor's permission here in Michigan. And let's get that multivitamin mineral that has chromium in it, because you are deficient in chromium. That's something I discovered in my research with diabetics. I said never to purchase chromium isolated from the rest of the vitamins and mineral. You need a multivitamin mineral. The doctor said okay, so he started taking a multivitamin and mineral. So now he's eating organically, blood sugar going back down to normal. He's taking a multivitamin that has chromium in it, the blood sugar is even going back down to an even more normal level. And then I said to him, let's eat complex carbohydrates instead of eating the foods that the doctors are recommending you to eat for a snack. I said, let's throw that out and eat the foods that God is telling us to eat from the Garden of Eden. So we ate foods that came from a seed, such as a complex carbohydrate, which regulates the blood sugar. Complex carbohydrates are insulin regulators, just in case you didn't know that. And they keep the blood sugar balanced, whether you have diabetes or not. That's something you want to focus in on as you get older, because you want to always maintain a really great blood sugar level throughout your life. That's something you want to be aware of. And so I asked the gentleman, I said, instead of eating the snacks that the doctors are telling you to eat, which is making you dependent on insulin and where you could never get off that roller coaster, I said, let's eat the foods from a seed, from the Garden of Eden, that God told us we're supposed to be eating. And sure enough, the man's blood sugar levels came back down to normal. His body completely balanced out because he got a good multivitamin mineral that had the chromium. He came off the chemically processed foods, which was spiking his blood sugar. Okay, so the clean foods removed the toxic poisons and brought his blood sugar down to normal. And then, he was taking a good multivitamin mineral that had chromium, which is bringing his blood sugar back down to normal. And, God worked a miracle. And so if you're eating beans that comes from whole foods that are organic, they're not going to be gassy because there's no chemicals on it. You don't even have to soak organic beans. You just rinse them off and cook them. They're not hard. Conventional beans from the store are going to be gassy because they got toxic poisons on the inside of them. Okay. And so you got to soak them and all this kind of stuff, but in my ministry, I don't feed people toxic poison foods for health, because it's the opposite of the word of the living God. So I was feeding this particular gentleman who was diagnosed with brittle diabetes clean foods. All I did was line up to the word of the living God. When I lined up to the word of the living God for this gentleman, his blood sugar came back down to normal. The doctors took him off of insulin. It was the first time in his life that he did not have to take insulin. So I'm sharing with you my research and my knowledge in what is missing to help people walk in balance, and talk to your doctor about it. Ask God to help you make those lifestyle changes. Let your doctor know that you're going to be making changes, and watch the doctor start weaning you off of your insulin. Once the body gets what it needs, it will heal itself. Okay, so the family was like shocked that in my care, this man, their dad, never was rushed to the hospital, never had an issue with his blood sugar, because God showed me how to regulate what was going on inside his body and add to his body what was missing. And he said, okay, incorporated the changes that the Spirit of God instructed him to do, and he was able to be blessed by that health knowledge. So, I excel in research. I excel in listening to God. I excel in balancing out the body. So I wanted to share this information with you so that you'll know. And if you have any kind of sugar cravings, that means you have parasites. If you've never done a parasite cleanse, you you do have parasites you need to clean out. So sugar cravings for people who are diagnosed with diabetics is because they have parasites and because they're low in a nutrient called chromium. You know, when I had my monthly periods, and I always knew when I was getting ready to come on my period because I always would crave a Mr. Goodbar. My body was always crave out for sugar. That's because I was low in chromium. Once I started taking a multivitamin mineral that had chromium in it, I didn't have any more sugar cravings. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with everybody because I believe in sharing knowledge and truth with the world. And this is still Miracle Sunday. Now, I'm sitting in the shade because it's really hot in the sun. So if it looks like the camera's a little dark, it's because I'm sitting in the shade trying to cool off while I share this message. I'm just being obedient to the Lord. So I wanted to make sure that I came and shared this information with you so you'll have knowledge. Knowledge is power. Talk to your doctor. Yes, you can come off your insulin with knowledge, but work with your doctor on this. Don't ever work outside of your doctor. Let the doctor know you want to make some changes if this is your desire to walk in healing in the promise of God. Okay? This is Lois Banks coming to you from Lois Banks Ministry. God bless you.